My view is that Paul is 100 years before the Jesus story, give or take a year or two. He's Greek influenced, but he's Hebrew. He upgrades the view of resurrection. Some of the letters are more church, defending its Roman church view than Hebrew. The Hellenism proper, so to speak, is there in John's Gospel. But John's Gospel isn't exclusively that. And when I say Hellenistic, I mean the sort of thing that goes back to Plato and Pythagoras, and therefore the mystery cults. The New Testament, in a sense, traces, if you get the order right, of the books, the influence of an adaptation of the mystery cult to the Hebrew faith. And I'm using the word cult, mystery cult, to identify it, not to judge it. In particular, not to condemn the view. It is, as it were then, God's best and man's best, and both, view to be accepted by the emerging world, by which I mean that which becomes the Western modern world of the 20th century and what it develops into in the 21st century, etc. The view is then what we call the Christian view, is the world's adaptation to what we might call the Jesus view as found in John's Gospel, especially John 17, which I feel clinches the deal, so to speak. That part of the influence has been fudged or even ignored in favour of a sort of quasi-Pauline church adopted by a Hellenistic world. But my view is more than John. And it is that we reach out in trust of the ideal always, in as far as we can conceive of it. World empires are not very flexible in this regard. The non-conforming individual is, and of course makes mistakes. The whole experience of being in the world of good and evil and learning the fruit thereof is recognizing or coming to suffer from, at least, one's mistakes and wondering what to do about it. And this is the path of religions down the ages. The coming and going of religions. And new ones spring up closer to the desired ideal. And then the experience of such modifies what the ideal desired becomes, and new religions or adaptations emerge. My view in emancipated 20th century style is to reach out into the 21st century and choose, knowingly, what we understand to be what is best. Living it with all your heart, soul, mind and strength, and adjusting according to your experience thereof. I'd say we were entering an age of idealism, if the phrase had not already been coined and used for earlier epochs of history. I'm not sure. Perhaps it should be applied to all history, really. It's the unfolding of the ideal in as far as we can conceive of it. And to begin with, that's rather limiting, but in time, wow. I mean, look at the notions we entertain today. Freedom of the individual, ideas about democracy, notions about the rights of man, ideas of United Nations and whatnot. Extravagant attempts at what we understand could be the ideal. And we suffer and learn by our experience. I was thinking of the castle wall to protect the castle. It's a very small, safe world. And then when we think of something like the Roman Empire, cities have their walls. But the invasion of the empire successfully is pretty infrequent for some major empires like Rome and so forth. I mean, Rome lasted 400 or 500 years. And in the modern world, well, walls aren't terribly useful to defend oneself. We apparently need an arms race. But the astonishing stability of civilization seems to afford opportunity to imagine what's better, and the pressure that brings upon or against the conformity of society to remain as it is. If we had forever been hunter-gatherers, would we ever have had the sophistication of our religions and philosophies and science? I don't think so. I suppose in a world of no wars, just one civilization, the strife will be within it. Various factions, and the mode of conflict civilized. Not murdering each other, but manipulating each other. I think it must still be a world of good and evil. Else we will not be offering that facility of the classroom for the children of heaven. You and me.